Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Jamaica Debates Commission's virtual press conference. It is being held this afternoon to provide an update on the preparations for the staging of the 3 national debates ahead of the general elections here in Jamaica on September 3rd, 2020. A number of organizations will announce their support for the national political debates and endorse the work of the JDC. We at the Jamaica Debates Commission would like to welcome our viewers here in Jamaica and across the globe who have tuned in on our local TV and cable stations, including JNN and PBCJ, as well as a number of stations in the Caribbean through the CBU network. We also have members of the public joining us online through YouTube, our Facebook page, and on our website at www.jamaicadebatescommission.org. So we're going to hand over the proceedings right away to the chairman of the Jamaica Debates Commission, Mr. Noel Da Costa. Mr. Da Costa.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Commissioners, Political Ombudsman Donna Parchment Brown, Chairman of Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, Dr. Honorable Lloyd Barnett, General Secretary of the Jamaica Council of Churches, Reverend Newton Dixon, President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Lloyd Distant, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome and many thanks for coming. I especially thank the Political Ombudsman, the Jamaica Council of Churches, and CAFE for joining us, and from whom you'll hear shortly. In a little over 72 hours, the 2020 series of national political debates in Jamaica will commence under the auspices of the Jamaica Debates Commission. We thank the Jamaica Labour Party, the JLP, and the People's National Party, the PNP, for agreeing to participate in this very important aspect of our democratic process. There will be 3 90-minute debates during this period, commencing at 9 p.m. each evening on Tuesday, August 25th, Thursday, August 27th, and Saturday, August 29th. The debates will focus on social issues, finance and economics, and national leadership issues on those respective days. As you are aware, the coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19, has led to the entire island of Jamaica being under manners, with special orders and protocols on gatherings being enforced from time to time. This had led to debates that are being held at the Creative Production and Training Center, CPTC, being done with very different arrangements, driven by obvious physical distancing for debaters, questioners, moderators, and production team members. As a result, there will be no studio audience, and there will be frequent and specific sanitization protocols observed for workers and others involved in the debates. There will also be consistent sanitization of the facilities before and after the debates. At this point, our production arrangement for the debates are at an advanced state of readiness. Although we had only 14 days to organize them since the announcement of the election date, our set for the first debate, which is a team debate, has been adjusted to ensure adequate physical distancing, and we are using only 2 in-studio questioners instead of the usual 3, and they will be appropriately physically distanced. We have incorporated a 3rd journalist facilitating questions from online and social media. And we take this opportunity to request that members of the public go to our website, www.jamaicadebatescommission.org, and our social media handle of @JamaicaDebates to share issues and questions to be asked. Your questions and issues may actually get to be the ones posed by the social media questioner in the debates. I'm pleased to advise that we have finalized our list of moderators, questioners, and the parties have settled their team members for the debates. As a precaution, we have engaged backup moderators, backup questioners, in the event that there are any undue eventualities that would affect anyone's participation. Moderators, questioners, and debaters are as follows. Social issues debate on Tuesday, August 25th. The debaters are, for Team PNP, Peter Bunting, Dayton Campbell, and Krystal Tomlinson. For Team JLP, Christopher Tufton, Kamina Johnson-Smith, Alanda Terrelong. The moderator will be Janella Precious, and the questioners, Natalie Campbell and Vashon Brown. For the second Finance and Economic Issues debate on Thursday, August 27th, debaters are Nigel Clarke and the opposition spokesperson on finance, Mark Golding. The moderator will be Damian Mitchell, and the questioners, Kalila Enriquez Reynolds and Dashon Hendricks. The National Leadership Issues debate on Saturday, August 29th. Debaters will be Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Opposition Leader Dr. Peter Phillips. The moderator, Dervon Malcolm, and the questioners, Dion Jackson Miller and George Davis. The Jamaica Debates Commission will be mounting debate watches for each debate. The debate watch is aimed at encouraging Jamaicans here and abroad to inform and educate themselves and each other on the important issues that affect them, their communities, and the country. The watches also seek to find out the views and our track record of those running for public office to make better informed electoral choices. There will be debate watches in 20 Zoom rooms for each debate, with participants from every parish in Jamaica and Jamaicans living in the United States, Canada, UK, Mexico, and the Cayman Islands. Staging these debates is only possible because of financial support of our sponsors and donors who have contributed in cash, kind, and in services. It'll cost us approximately 30 million Jamaican dollars to stage these debates in 2020. So far, we have raised the funding required. The production of debates includes studio production, other physical production, streaming worldwide, advertising, promotion, the mounting of debate watches, and exit research polls, which are done to gauge the effectiveness of debates after the elections. We have had support from our partner organizations for many years. The National Democratic Institute, which is responsible for staging political debates in the United States. NDI is partnering with USAID in assisting the Jamaica Debates Commission. In addition, we have our important local sponsors: Proven, Scotiabank, NCB, Panjam, University of the West Indies, Digicel, Flow, Jamaica National Group, Victoria Mutual Building Society. Ladies and gentlemen, the JDC is of the view that these debates will be the most important ones yet. They are being held in a pandemic. Campaigning has changed dramatically for the political parties, and many of the usual practices have had to be curtailed. We note that in the last few days, Jamaica has added more than 200 positive COVID-19 cases. And the JDC appeals to the political parties to use our debates to effectively encourage their supporters to act responsibly. We also encourage the use of media messaging more, as members of the public are engaged with different forms of media, now more than ever. It is clear that the use of physical campaigning should be even more media focused to ensure that all social distancing, health and safety guidelines can be observed at all times. Today, we are pleased to receive support for the work of the JDC from some important stakeholders in our nation, namely the Political Ombudsman, Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections, the Jamaica Council of Churches, Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, and the Media Association of Jamaica. As I wrap up, I wish to remind you that on Monday, August 24th, the JDC's supplement will be published in the major newspapers. It will include all the information I've just shared and much more. It will also have our debate scorecards for you to use to score the debates as you see them. Finally, the Jamaica Debates Commission urges all Jamaicans to follow all the protocols for COVID-19. Stay at home if you do not have to go out. Wash your hands regularly. Sanitize with authentic products with more than 60% alcohol content. Wear a mask at all times. And if you have recently returned to the country or have some in your household who has, please self-isolate and have them isolate for the required period. You will be able to listen to debates on radio, watch the debates on television online at www.jamaicadebatescommission.org and YouTube. And follow us on social media at Jamaica Debates. We encourage you to watch, listen, decide, and vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And now I'm going to invite the Political Ombudsman, Mrs. Donna Parchment Brown, to speak to you at this time.
Thank you so much. So it's such a pleasure for me to be here with you this afternoon. Thank you very much for your kind invitation to take part in this extremely important press conference. I greet everyone who is watching or listening and encourage them to be very knowledgeable about the rules governing the campaign and elections. Mr. Chairman, I particularly want to bring attention to the fact that the Office of the Political Ombudsman has issued guidelines related to the COVID-19 protection of our citizens. And these guidelines have come out of a consultation with representatives of Jamaica's 4 registered political parties. I hope that these will be broadly disseminated within the political parties contesting the election, and they will make their members, their candidates and supporters so aware that it will be easy for them to comply. Please allow me to extend congratulations to the Jamaica Debates Commission for its commitment to Jamaica's democracy. I commend you for your faithfulness. Your role allows us to balance the information on the debate stage with the vibe and the levity of the dub plate and the campaign advertisements, all of which make for our unique, wonderful Jamaican elections. The space that you have created allows our media experts, after doing the necessary research and consultation, to ask questions of the political parties on behalf of the public. This is invaluable. Debates help the electors understand better the track record, the policies, and the character of those who seek to lead our precious country. Congratulations on your own COVID protocols that you have shared today with all of those who are listening or viewing. Each one of us needs to make ourselves aware, be personally accountable, and hold those who hope to lead accountable for their own conduct. Regrettably, there have been a lot of breaches already in this campaign. The Political Ombudsman is an independent, fair, and neutral commission of Parliament established under the Political Ombudsman Interim Act and also with responsibility for the 2005 Code of Conduct signed in Jamaica's Parliament. I call on the party leaders as they participate in these debates through their various members and as they continue with the campaign to live up to the Code of Conduct that they have signed, to bind all candidates and all supporters. Please remember, Jamaica requires of you that there be no violence, no malicious words, no untruthful stories, no intimidation, no vote buying, no defamation, no political tribalism. In the words of the Jamaican poet Chronic, remember to do it for the love, not just for the likes. It is a time for truth-telling to those we would want to participate in the elections. Please remember, everyone, the political parties, the Jamaica Debates Commission, you're a big deal, and all of we are a big deal too, in the words of another Jamaican poet, Christopher Martin. Finally, Chairman, I heartily endorse Jamaica's Debates Commission. I endorse the work that you're doing. I thank and congratulate you. I state without any doubt or reservation that these debates are vital to campaign 2020 and to Jamaica's democracy.
Thank you very much, Madam Ombudsman. And now we'd like to welcome to the screen the President of the Jamaica Council of Churches, the Reverend Newton Dixon.
Thank you and good afternoon. Chairman and Ombudsman, or the distinguished persons, the Jamaica Council of Churches commends the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce and in particular the Jamaica Debates Commission for engaging our democratic process in this very transformational way. This initiative is in alignment with one of our two foci, namely good governance and the other being family life. And so we endorse this process. We do so on the grounds that in a qualitative sense, it is an attempt to deepen the nation's engagement of the democratic process, as well as broadening participation in a quantitative sense. In discussing the question of voter autonomy, a scholar has noted, and I want to quote, "The central problem for democratic theory in modern societies is that people apparently know little about the choices they face, and they have little incentive to seek new information. Candidates and parties then have very strong incentives to provide information to voters at little or no search cost. Candidates try to reach us rather than us them. As a result, we are highly reliant on what politicians choose to say in their advertisements." And I end the quote there. It is our view that one of the growing edges of our young democracy is this vital area of political communications. The Jamaica Debates Commission seeks to close this gap by engaging our people in meaningful discussions, examining policies and ideas which in turn will empower their decision-making abilities and promote what I call political intelligence. And if that's a new coinage, then I will copyright it. If not, then I'll give due recognition to its author. There are some of us who look forward eagerly, fervently, toward a time when more of this kind of critical engagement replaces much of the fun and frolic of political campaigns as we presently know them. It is our hope, if we may put a plug in, that some of the issues that were raised in the recently signed crime consensus document will be raised by our noble journalists as they ask the hard questions and the right questions of our political aspirants. We look forward eagerly to this engagement as we can see only good, the good of the nation and the good of the process coming from it. The Jamaica Council of Churches endorses this process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Dixon. We appreciate the support of the churches and we are further encouraged by the interest displayed in this event. And now I invite Dr. Lloyd Barnett of the Citizens Action for Free and Fair Elections Cafe to speak with us. Dr. Barnett?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks to the Jamaica Debates Commission and to the chair for inviting me on behalf of CAFE to participate. There are two essentials of democracy. The first is to provide the people with the information necessary for them to make informed choices. That is, to hear the rival programs and policies being put forward by those who wish to assume power and to make laws and programs which govern the lives of the people. The second is that having made a choice based upon an assessment of those statements, the people are able to express their choice in free and fair elections. The JDC is devoted to enabling the first of these objectives, and CAFE is devoted to enabling the second of these objectives. And so we have worked together in order to achieve the democratic aim of good governance. The Jamaica Debates Commission has organized these debates, which allow the parties and the prospective leaders to tell the people what are the policies and programs they intend to implement. This replaces, not merely supplements, but certainly puts the emphasis on policies and programs rather than slogans and broad statements. And so the value of the debates cannot be underestimated to the extent that it is facilitating informed and intelligent choices. I wish to emphasize that in this period of pandemic, where the opportunity to go around freely is reduced, the debates assume much greater importance than any time before. And it allows now a very considered and measured presentation of the case for those who aspire to power. CAFE commends the Commission on having been able to arrange for these important debates and ask all persons to pay careful attention, to listen carefully, and to think carefully. And we hope that having done that, you will make a decision to exercise your franchise. As CAFE says, make your mark, be counted. And so we encourage all to participate in this great endeavor by listening and carefully weighing the arguments that you will hear. Thank you very much.
Lloyd Barnett, and the JDC not only thanks you for your support, but applauds you and CAFE for the very many years of election observation work that you have done in Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, the JDC is humbled by these powerful endorsements and continues to invite support from other groups and organizations. It encourages us, but it also demonstrates to the public at large the importance of this process in our democracy. I now invite the chairman of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Lloyd Dixon, to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Chair. Thank you so much, Chair, and good afternoon to everyone. The Jamaica Chamber of Commerce is proud of its involvement with and association with the Jamaica Debates Commission. Certainly over the years, and as we go into these debates, we are quite not only proud, but certainly looking forward to the conduct of these debates. These debates are important, as certainly from the Chamber's perspective, as we look to select the persons who will lead our country going forward, certainly for the next few years, if not the full term of 5 years. There are so many critical issues in front of us, and some were mentioned in the opening remarks by the chair of the Debates Commission, Noel De Costa. The pandemic that's upon us certainly is foremost on our minds, and certainly foremost on the minds of virtually all Jamaicans, I would think. From your research, certainly the resuscitation of the economy coming through the pandemic, maintaining the fiscal discipline that has been developed, and as well enabling growth, certainly key issues. Reverend Dixon spoke to the national consensus on crime. How will the parties, whomever is selected to lead our country, leverage what was achieved in the consensus of crime, and how they will get us to being a safe, secure, and just society going forward? Those are just some of the things I know many of us as Jamaicans are expecting to hear. I must pause to join with the Ombudsman in urging all candidates to observe the code of conduct and abide by the infection control and prevention measures that have been issued. We look forward to a great debate. We recognize that they provide us an opportunity to compare and contrast the policies and programs of the persons who will govern our country. And we anticipate that, as has happened before, these debates will provide quite a bit of insight to all of us as Jamaicans. Congratulations again to the Commission and to all the commissioners, and we look forward to hearing what our leaders have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Chairman of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Lloyd Distant. And last but not least in this section, we're going to invite the Vice Chairman of the Media Association of Jamaica, Mr. Brian Schmidt, to say a few words.
On behalf of Chairman Christopher Barnes of the Media Association Jamaica, I'd like to say that the Media Association Jamaica is extremely proud to be a part of the Jamaica Debates Commission, as what is done at the Commission lines up perfectly with what media is about. It is about the preservation of democracy, it's about the preservation of freedom of speech, the rights of expression, and of course, with all of these things in mind, we are exercising everyone to exercise their franchise. Come out and vote. And as the Jamaica Debates Commission say, watch, listen, decide, vote. So we're asking everyone on Tuesday, August 25, Thursday, August 27, and Saturday, August 29, tune into the debates at 9 p.m. on a number of local radio stations, television stations, online, and our website. And good luck to everyone involved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Schmidt. And before we open the floor for our journalists to come in, I think the chairman has something to say.
Yes, thank you, Madam Moderator. I'd just like to make a correction to the GLP team for the social issues debate. The team is Christopher Tufton, Kamina Johnson-Smith, and Floyd Green.
Okay. Thank you very much. And now we throw the floor open for questions from the media. And I think we're going to start first with Raquel Porter. Ms. Porter, are you there? Okay, let's go over to Mr. Michael Sharp from JNN.
And say good afternoon to all parties concerned. Mr. Chairman, I note with interest that you have a backup for everybody. But do you have any backup dates? Because we're very mindful of the 200 cases of COVID over the past, 48 hours, if you may. Are there any backup dates? Should we be overwhelmed by this and further restrictions placed?
At this point, we haven't, we have thought about it, but at this point, we haven't decided on any backup dates because we're not sure how it will unfold. But as it is now, all the arrangements were already put in place for the dates that we now have. And if the situation changed dramatically, then we would have to adjust that, make those adjustments.
If I may just push one further, I noticed you have suggested that they perhaps should take a lot of things online. Would you be bold enough, sir, to tell the parties that they really should cease the usual politicking? Because we've heard of new measures that be driving through, but alas, we know the behavior will not, based on nomination day activities, will follow through as they have designed it. And so therefore, to protect the nation, they should cease and desist.
I endorse that. I think that the new curfew hours will help in that regard, but certainly what happened on nomination day should not be repeated, and we exhort the parties to act accordingly.
Thank you very much, Michael Sharp from JNN. And now we'd like to welcome Charlene. Are you there? No. Khadija Thomas from CVM TV. All right, while we are waiting for our other journalists to come online, we're going to invite our Vice President of the MAJ, Mr. Brian Schmidt, to probably talk a little bit about the advertising and the media and public outreach that has been planned and is actually on board now.
Okay, thank you very much. The promotions as they exist now are multi-platform, so we are promoting in social media via YouTube, Facebook, WhatsApp. We're also promoting via traditional media, so therefore in radio, television, and print. And in fact, we're going to invite everyone to look out for our supplement, which is coming out on Monday in all major newspapers. It is going to give a lot of background on the JDC and its work and what to expect with these debates coming up. And also for even more information, you can go to our website, JamaicaDebatesCommission.org, which is actually very, very comprehensive. And we have made it a point to go beyond what a normal debate site would do. So you will see, for instance, we have legislation that explains what it takes, what are the criteria for a political party to participate in elections, not just participate in debates, for instance. So there's quite a bit going on there. It is very interesting that over the years how promotions have changed. And one of the things that's very important to the Commission is trying to stay current. So you're going to see us promoting in many different ways, and we must thank as well those celebrities and influencers who have put out messages on our behalf because they believe in the cause of what we do. And we are really, really sincerely thank them for that kind of work. And it is also interesting how things have changed in terms of how we're going to produce the debates themselves, because the debates are changing in a way that we're allowing the public to be more involved in getting their issues live during the debates. Previously, in the 2016 local government elections, correct me if I'm wrong, Chairman, that was the first time that we had public questions. Yes. Right, and at that time, we used to have 3 journalists and a 4th questioner, which was the public. Now we have 2 journalists and a 3rd questioner is the public. So the public will now get a chance to ask all of a third of the questions, which I think is landmark, not just for us, but for debating organizations worldwide. Do we have any questions from the press?
It appears that we have been quite comprehensive in our information because we have no more questions. But I don't know.
No,
I see Michael.
I would like to
coming
ask
back in.
another question, but I don't want to hog the show.
No, go right ahead, Michael.
Go right ahead, Mikey.
Yeah, I would like to ask of my esteemed friend, Mr. Lloyd Barnett, if you could advise us from his position as a constitutional lawyer, the right to vote, how does it trump the right for the protection under the act that, you know, causes the minister to say, stay at your yard and what have you? Should we have persons who are in isolation having the right to vote, for example?
Dr. Barnett, are you ready to answer?
I would approach it in a different way. The right to vote is a fundamental right protected by the Constitution, and to deny it can only be justified if there is no reasonable alternative. So that if arrangements can be made, we should allow those persons to vote. And by reasonable measures, then there is no excuse for not allowing them to vote. So that in all of those cases, the authorities have a duty, in my opinion, to explore how best, if at all, they may be permitted to vote.
Do you see a scenario in which that circumstance could be addressed? Is it double masking and taking the ballot to somewhere else? You need to unmute, sir. Still muted. I don't know if the host can assist.
Perhaps on that matter, because in the
Yes.
in the meeting between the four...
Yes.
I'll yield
Yeah.
to
Yes,
Dr. Barnett.
I'm hearing you.
Three different situations. Where the person who is specifically put in isolation because they have tested positive.
Yes.
There's a person who is in quarantine because they have come into contact with someone who was positive. And there are persons in an area which has been quarantined because there has been a spike in that particular area. And I think each of those situations have to be treated separately and different solutions provided. For instance, if there's an area, it might be necessary to establish a special polling station in that area. But there might be people living in that area whose constituency is in another place and who might need to go into another polling station. There is nothing impossible about persons voting at a place which is not within the same constituency, just as happens with the military and the police. Whether there is enough time to make arrangements like that will be obviously a challenge. So that what is practical is also important as what is feasible from a purely legal, theoretic point of view.
Yes, and if I could throw one to the ombudsman as well. You know, very often we hear Dr. Tufton mention that apathy is one of the greatest attacks on our democracy. And we seek to have free and fair elections and free from fear. Now comes the pandemic. We are fearful that we might have this. Do you think, and to what extent do you think this might impact on a very low voter turnout, having COVID-19 winning the elections after all?
Thank you very much for that question. I think that's the voter turnout is always a concern, and we have heard the parties talk about their work for turnout for these elections. In the meeting of the four registered parties, out of which the political ombudsman's guidelines for campaign 2020, it was developed and it's emerged from that. This was a real concern. Campaigning, therefore, is important to everyone. And I agree with what has been said by Mr. Da Costa about the need to use alternate methods of campaigning to a great degree. We had agreed in that forum, in line with the Ministry of Health and Wellness guidelines, that up to 5 persons in a group could do house-to-house canvassing in communities, and up to 2 could enter a home for no more than 15 minutes. It may well be that that should no longer be the position, bearing in mind the complete risk and the fact that no one can say by looking who has been exposed or who has COVID-19. So while that is in the current guidelines, I think that's a matter that we're going to have to address. And the social media space, I believe, is really where a lot of the campaigning will take place this cycle. And it may just be a very good thing for the posts now to focus on political information rather than some of the more nefarious, malicious, and unnecessary posts that we have been seeing for months. So I think it is an opportunity for anyone who supports a political party to become a campaigner on their digital space on behalf of their party, so that turnout may indeed be better than the turnout in the 2016 general elections. I also want to say that the Electoral Office of Jamaica has issued its own guidelines for election day. And there are some particular considerations there. One is that they have introduced a layer of sanitization for this campaign. There will be a limit on the number of persons allowed within the election area at any given time. The political parties have agreed that those who are outside waiting to come in will be provided comfort items like, water. The social distancing will be maintained. Everyone is asked to wear masks. Based on what we have been seeing when the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party leaders and candidates have been on the road, I don't believe that we can rely on that. So the police, unfortunately, are going to have a very much larger role in this campaign. And it's important for the public to understand the police is not trying to stop people from enjoying their election. It's trying to help them obey the law and to be safe. So when the police says you may not congregate in this area, move on and keep on moving. This must be obeyed. We don't want a situation repeated as we saw, where a candidate literally told the people present to ignore the police. This is not to happen. And I've said to the police that from where I sit, breaches, they must warn for prosecution wherever they see breaches that endanger the public and our democracy. And where necessary, they must arrest and charge. This is too serious. And some people will stay home because they're afraid that other people will be irresponsible. So it's important also, I think, and I thank the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce for his comment, but every leader in every dimension of Jamaica's life, whether you're a member of the private sector, you're in the entertainment industry, you're a faith-based, voices must be out there encouraging correct behavior and compliance. I'm without my mask, no. But I have my mask with me, and I have it off just for speaking in a room that's been organized to respect social distancing. So, Michael, I think we can still have a turnout at least as good as we had last time. I think Jamaica needs a bigger turnout than that, but that's only going to happen if now and all the days until election and on election day, we are focused on what the rules are and what safety is. Take your medication before you leave home. Eat a meal before you leave home. Take a snack, water, and a drink in your bag with you. Take your umbrella. Wear shoes that you can stand up in for an extended period, and where if it rains, you're okay in those shoes. If you have a folding chair, bring your folding chair or stool. This is a different kind of election day. And so everyone needs to plan and organize for themselves so that it can be safe. It's too important. We can't let it be COVID.
Mr. DeCosta, sir, we have seen these debates over the years. Have they made a difference?
We have the evidence to prove that it does. Okay. We have done polls after the elections, and we have found, we have done these polls since 2007, and we have found that the statistics are remarkably similar. And some of the statistics are as follows. Upwards of 67% of the persons polled said that watching the debates helped them to decide. Approximately 30% of the persons polled said that as a result of looking at the debates, they actually changed their voting intentions. We were surprised when we saw that number. We were looking for like 4, 5, or 6%. But in the debates that we have done in 2007, 2011, and in the local government debates, we found a similar trend. So we do feel that debates actually made not only a difference, but a significant difference.
Thank you. And if I could just have a final one for the future for Mr. Lloyd, Sir Lloyd. The future, we have been forced into a virtual life due to this pandemic. What we're doing now certainly is one of them. We are looking at our neighbors who are talking about mail-in votes. And even that in itself might create a challenge sometimes. About virtually voting online, do you see that ever being a part of the machination of our electoral process?
Our voting procedure is very strict because of the history of bogus voting and intimidation that we experienced prior to 1997 and up to 1997. But in the new situation, we have to reconsider whether there are not alternatives once the appropriate security arrangements can be introduced. Because, as you know now, a lot of things can be done electronically, and a lot of identification can be done electronically as well. So that I think the time is coming in which I believe voting will essentially be of a different methodology, and people will be able to vote from home. But we are not there yet.
No. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And we have a question coming in from Khadija from CVM TV. She's having some technical issues, so she asked that I pass on the following question. I wanted Mr. Schmidt to clarify how the public will be involved in the debates.
Okay, thank you. The debates, how the public will become involved is via social media, where they can just send in their questions to us at Jamaica Debates on all the social media platforms. That's nice and easy and straightforward.
All right, thank you very much. And at this point, I think we'd like to bring the proceedings to a close. I'd like to give the chairman, Mr. Noel Da Costa, the last word.
I'd just like to endorse everything that the political ombudsman said, not only in terms of behavior going into the elections, but generally as to how we treat and respect the pandemic that is upon us. I'd like to encourage everybody to look at our debates, 25th, 27th, and 29th of this month, and to watch, listen, decide, and vote. Thank you all, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, everyone, and we'd like to return you to your respective studios now. And we'd like to once again thank you for joining us in this press conference and encourage you to stay with us on the journey. The 3 debates, the 25th, the 27th, and the 29th. Jamaica Debates Commission will be there and bringing it to you. Remember, watch, listen, decide, and vote.